Hello friends, Lee Brown here. Welcome back to My Kitchen, My Rules. Today we are going to go in the special occasion dessert direction, and you can see by my shirt I'm fixing to make something for July the 4th, but you might need a special dessert for homecoming, Christmas, Thanksgiving, Veterans Day, Flag Day, St. Patrick's Day, your birthday, or just some random Wednesday that feels like it needs some juice. So I'm going to teach y'all a recipe that was one of my grandmother's. She made it at Christmas. So you can always save this video in your little file, and that way when Christmas rolls around, you can shock and awe your family with amazingness, which is why you probably should go ahead and click subscribe and like right now, I'm just saying. So here's what you need for making broken glass torte. You need 4 containers. Now they could be these, like I make my fruit cake in. It could be bowls, whatever. Your goal is to have a space that's big enough for your Jello to lay down flat, because you want to be able to cut it into squares once it's done. And let's cut the water on to get to high, because you're going to need some boiling water for your Jello. We need orange Jello, we need lemon Jello, we need strawberry Jello, and we need lime. Now, if you want to use 4 different Jellos, look, that is your kitchen, your rules, friends, but this is what Grandma used, so that's what I'll be using. Your main goal, though, with 4 Jellos is you need 4 different colors. So with each of these colors, you're going to do, Jello. It's not hard, right? This is not rocket science-y stuff. Now, I did buy the sugar-free one because it still has sugar in it, but it's just not quite as sugary, because I'm saving that for some Dixie Crystals, which will appear in the next step. So we're going to put 1 color in each of our containers here. And by the way, if you want to use an off-brand, that's fine too. No judgment here. But some things you got to go with the name brand on, like Dixie Crystals, like Jello, like toilet paper, friends. You do not buy off-brand toilet paper. Although I know y'all did during the pandemic, and no judgment, because we all got to do what we got to do. So now we've got our 4 containers ready to roll. See, it's just amazing. See, you, by the way, you ought to have some of these around your house for 9 eggs, or making fruit cake. That recipe is a ways back too. Once our water is boiling, we're going to put 1.5 cups of water in each one. Set it in the refrigerator until they're completely set up, and then you'll be back with me for the next step, and frankly, what's about to be your new favorite holiday dessert. For those of y'all that are visual, here are your 4 colors. Remember, 1.5 cups of hot water in each one, and now they're headed for the fridge. Okay, so our Jello is just about set up for this super amazing dessert, and I've had it in the fridge about 2 hours. So I don't really know how long it took, but 2 hours is at least enough. So now you're going to do your next step while it's still sitting out there. Spoiler alert, don't get it out of the fridge until you need it, because it can soften up, especially if it's summertime. So the next thing you're going to need for step 2, and yes, this is not as easy as some of our other recipes, but trust me, it's worth it. I mean, don't you remember your grandmother and all those special things? That's one of the cool things about cooking. I mean, it makes you part of somebody else's memories. So anyway, you need some Knox gelatin. This is the unflavored stuff that some of y'all may have around the house for canning jellies. And spoiler alert, you want to subscribe, because I'm going to teach y'all how to make my mama's mint jelly. And I've told you before, she can't cook very much. Mint jelly is one of the things that she does very well. So anyway, get your 1 packet of unflavored gelatin. You need a small bowl. Then you need 1/4 cup of cold water. Oops, that's the wrong container. That one was empty. That wasn't going to do me much good at all. And that 1/4 cup, I got right out of the fridge. That's one of the reasons to get a refrigerator that has a water and ice dispenser, is because standing there over the sink in the summertime waiting for your water to get cold, frankly, that just ain't happening. I'm with my papa. He always said that the perk of wintertime was that your water came out of the spigot cold, and I said amen and hallelujah, Papa, because that's true. Now we've got that dissolving there, and it's going to start to set up quickly, so you want to stir it on occasion. You need 1 cup of hot pineapple juice. Now you probably don't keep hot pineapple juice around. In fact, you might not keep pineapple juice around at all. So I've got some Del Monte Gold tidbits, and make sure it says it's in pineapple juice, because if you pay attention, some of your canned fruit sits in syrup, some of it sits in pear juice. There's lots of other things besides what you want. So read your containers, friends. That's all I'm saying. So I need 1 cup of pineapple juice, So this is going to make a mess no matter how I shake it. And the upshot is that after I get a cup of juice out of this, there better be a cup in there. Lord, I'm fixing to have to water it down because I ain't opening up a second can. I'm going to eat the pineapple straight out for a dessert. I might even put it on some ice cream, or I can mix it into a cocktail because y'all know I like to use it in my pineapple juice. Look, it is almost a cup, and I ain't going to spoil another can because that was right at 3/4 of a cup. So let's top it off with some water. What do you say? And now we've got a cup, and now it needs to be hot. So I'm going to nuke it, and this is why we have microwaves, frankly. I don't really know how my grandmother heated it up. She probably set it on the stove in a saucepan. But look at here. See, we'll use technology. We'll do 30 seconds and see how that comes out. And I'm going to come, oh, Lord, I'm going to come over here and stir my gelatin again because it is already getting gelatiny. See, now if you didn't know, that's what gelatin looks like after it sits there for just a hot second. And as soon as we get the hot pineapple juice in there, we're going to let it cool all together. And then the next step, well, actually, you can get your next step together because you're going to need a pint of heavy cream. I've got Lowe's brand. And you're also going to need some powdered sugar. I have the end of one Dixie Crystals bag and the beginning of another one. What? I know, see? And by the way, y'all, I'm fairly confident that this recipe is going to wind up on DixieCrystals.com because I looked and they do not have a Broken Glass Torte, and I know that they will be tickled to have it and have a little bit of Southern history and amazingness on the site. So when y'all see that, y'all give a hip hip hooray. And by the way, if you haven't had any Dixie Crystal sugar, drop something in the comments after you give me a like and a subscribe, and we might just send you a coupon. Just put your comments, say, I need some Dixie Crystal sugar, and I'll just have to read the emphasis in your words. So we're stirring that in carefully. And the beauty of gelatin is that you can actually feel when it has stirred in. So let's get that done. And while that is cooling off, we'll set it over here on the side to cool off. I'm so sorry, video camera, you won't be able to see this. And then we're going to take this pint of whipping cream and, well, it's not whipping cream, heavy cream. And we'll dump that in. And we need 1.5 cups of powdered sugar. So I guess we'll leave that here where the camera can look at it, since y'all like to look at things on the camera. And where is my measuring cup? Here it is. Because we are going to use up what we have left. And we don't waste our Dixie Crystals. I don't know about y'all. I don't waste a whole lot. But anyway, I was saying to y'all earlier about how cooking gives you the chance to be in somebody else's memories. We had our family reunion here at the house, I don't know, a couple of weeks ago. And I love being around my absolutely crazy family. We are not for everybody, let's just be honest, although everybody that's around us sure does enjoy it when they have come over this way. And we were reminiscing about Grandma and Papa and the farm and all of the things that we have in common. Now, I'm one of 18 grandkids on that side of the family, and we range in age across a couple of decades. You've got a couple of boomers, you've got some Gen Xers. We don't have any millennials, we're not that young, but some of the great grands are. But anyway, it's just so much fun what we have in common, right? So we remember her kitchen, which was mustard yellow, like many grandmothers' kitchens were, and she had this table in there that had the metal edge on it, and it was Formica. And we all remember the table, and we remember the things that were in her little built-in cabinet in the wall. Her little, well, she didn't have fine china, but she did have a cabinet built into the wall. And so these children have been using my kitchen shears for something besides kitchen, because they are not sharp. I'm going to have to carry them to the farmer's market and get them sharpened. But anyway, we all remember Grandma's kitchen, and we remember what she fixed, and we remember the sound of her voice and playing cards in there. And of course, Uncle Burr would hang out at the sink to wash dishes, because that was how you avoided getting stuck in conversations with people that might work your nerves. But anyway, we have those things in common, and it all goes back to food, right? And so if you start thinking about it, we lose a lot when we get too hung up in eating out and in processed foods, not just because it's terrible for your body, but because, y'all, you're letting your memory banks go dry, and we don't want to do that. The world as it is needs a lot more love and affection, and cooking is one way to do that. And so let me get my hand mixer, and we will beat this up real good. I'm back now with my hand mixer, and if you missed some of my previous episodes where we have made whipping cream, make sure you go back and look at the recipe for a Cheerwine icebox cake. It's so good, and the best thing in the world is that the frosting is not some heavy crazy buttercream. It is just heavy whipping cream and powdered sugar. So we mix this up good. You don't really need heavy peaks or stiff peaks, as we like to say with this particular recipe. We really just want to get it nice and thickened up. And then we're going to fold in the pineapple and gelatin mixture, which is going to give it the consistency that you want. And I'll show you why we need that consistency here in just a second. As you're noticing, this is definitely one of the more complicated recipes that I have, except for that fig tart that I tried from Bon Appetit. That was too much, friends. That won't for me, I'm just saying. But this one's worth it because it's a showstopper when you bring it somewhere, and it's also delicious. And as I said, it's going to create memories. So let's get this going. And you see your consistency really is just, nice and smooth. You don't need peaks for this particular recipe. Let me get my gelatin back from over here where it's been in waiting. Dump that in. And mix it. You're just on your lowest speed, by the way. You do not need to beat the daylights out of this. But you do want to mix it good to make sure that gelatin gets dispersed, because otherwise you'll have uneven consistency, and we don't need any more uneven things in life. We really don't. Okay. So now let's put that on pause for 1 second. And I'm going to go get my Jell-O out of the fridge, and I'll show you the pretty part next. Actually, we're not going to do the pretty part next. Now we have to make the crust. So for your crust, you need a half a cup of melted butter in the microwave right now. You're going to need graham cracker crumbs, or you can buy graham crackers, put them in a Ziploc bag, and beat the dickens out of them, because that's your prerogative too, and totally a stress reliever. I did buy the Honey Made graham cracker crumbs. And by the way, there's another brand, and it's in a yellow box. I don't remember which brand it is, but it's got double the sugar of the Honey Made ones. Watch your sugar, friends. I mean, I love it, right? I love my Dixie Crystals. I am forevermore cooking with sugar, but I am, for heaven's sakes, not going to add in any more than necessary. So, get these dull scissors again. I was excited at the farmer's market this morning to see there was a man that sharpens knives out there, so I will be visiting him. So let's get 2 cups of graham cracker crumbs. Set my box up here for you who like to look at the work in progress part. I'm coming, microwave, settle down. And there's 1, and there's 1/2, and there's 2. That'll be our crust. And I will clip that off before I put that away. Let's get our half a cup of melted butter. And let's see if it melted all the way. It did. Yay for the microwave being in action. So let's dump that in here. That's our binder. And then our recipe calls for a half a cup of regular Dixie Crystal sugar. Yay for a half a cup of white granulated sugar. And it's only Dixie Crystals in this house. Thank you. So let me get a fork to stir that up with. Because you don't have to do a ton of stirring here. You're really just mixing in your different ingredients. Get the butter dispersed a little bit so that it will hold the graham crackers into some kind of a crusty shape. And you definitely want to get this done before the butter turns back into a solid. from its liquid state. So see, we will do science in this house while we are making dessert, because that is what science is for, frankly, the things that are useful. All right, so let's see. As I talk under my breath, I'm thinking here about where my 9x13 is, because you need a casserole dish to make this one. I don't know if I need my 9x13 or my smaller one. So I don't remember what size she used, but she likely only had a 9x13 because that's how we roll. Didn't have all these fancy schmancy sizes now. So we'll dump this right into the dish. And if you've never made something with a graham cracker crust before, then go back and watch some of my other recipes, because legit, it's so easy. Take your hands, which I presume are clean, friends. I'm just going to guess y'all wash yours as often as I do with soap and not with that antibacterial all the time, because you know your body is supposed to have some bacteria. So if you like to bathe in antibacterial, you need to dial it back, friends, because that's not good for you in the long haul, because you actually are killing off the good ones too. But plain old soap and water will do you a world of good. All right, so see, we're just going to kind of spread it out here and get it around the edges. It won't go all the way up, and that's fine. You just want to get a little bit of an edge to it so it'll hold up when you serve it. And there we go. I like to make sure the bottom is even too, because too much crust mess up your ratios, you see. So let's toss some math in here, because cooking, actually, for those of y'all that are homeschoolers or home grandparenting, just get your kids to cook. I mean, this is math, it is science, it is reading, it is fun. All right, so there's our crust. It's all ready to roll. So I'm going to set that to the side over here. And now we're going to get our beautiful colors. Look how nice our Jell-O looks. Move my Dixie Crystals out of the way now. Okay, so our next step is to turn this into small squares. Now, if I were a thinking ahead kind of person, which I'm not, obviously, I would have lined these containers with some saran wrap, because it will be easy to turn it out and cut them. I didn't think to do that because I don't always think ahead. So just reach your knife in here and just start slicing up your Jell-O into some squares. It does not have to be perfect. We're not going for perfection here, but we are going to go for the smaller sizes. I'm going to slice up all of my Jell-O. Obviously, I pushed this orange too far back in the fridge, and it sat up on the edge of my shelf. So it's going to have some very deep squares and some that are far more narrow and specialized. And I might be eating the bottom out of that container later, so all right then. Okay, can y'all tell already how excited this is going to be, because it's so pretty? And if you want to take a square out and eat it yourself for a snack, as you remember, they say there's always room for Jell-O. And all I can sit here thinking is, watch it wiggle, see it jiggle. Dixie Crystals, y'all need to come up with a jingle. In fact, I need a jingle for Lee Brown's real estate business. Somebody's going to have to write me a jingle. I did hear, there's a lady that I met one time in Nashville named Belinda Smith, and I heard that Belinda will write jingles. I need to reach out to her and see if she will. So I'll just use my spatula and pull it up off the bottom, and you see it comes out in those little squares like you at the K&W. So here's what we're going to do. Oh, if you don't have a K&W at home, you might have a Morrison's or a Piccadilly's or some such. So this is all we need, y'all. You just want to make sure it's in this kind of a size and shape. So, you know. All right, Jello. All right, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to dump the colors into this bowl of heavy cream with our whipped cream that we already made up and put in together. So let's get all of our colors in here. I'm trying to do this where y'all can see it, because it sounds harder than it is, and once you've got it put together, it's going to look much more difficult than it was, which is why your friends and family will be amazed at your prowess as a dessert maker. And you won't even have had to go to the Johnson & Wales Culinary School. It will be so perfect. And hopefully all of your churches are reopened, and you can have a dinner on the grounds and a potluck, and share things, and instead of getting store-bought, make something special. Can y'all already tell how gorgeous this is going to be? I know, right? I know you wish you were at my house to have some. And if you were here, I would give you a cocktail, and we would eat, and we would sit outside and visit, and that would make my heart happy. So if you are ever near Concord and want to visit, I hope that you will. But please give me some notice, because surprise visits make my blood pressure go up. All right, so now we have gotten that in there. Let's get a spoon here. Gently fold them in, all right? So we're going to basically stir all of these little pieces of Jell-O in and throughout this entire batch of cream and pineapple and unsweet gelatin. Move that out of the way. So basically you want to make sure that your colors are dispersed, so all your greens are not hiding from all your reds, and get it all the way through that creamy mixture. It's so pretty. Oh my gosh, I miss my grandma. She passed in 1998, and she would be tickled to have some of this. All right, so once you make get your pretty colors molded in, all you gotta do is dump it into this graham cracker crust gently, evenly. Watch it wiggle, see it jiggle. Yeah, I'm glad I used a 9x13. It felt big, but now it feels just right. Look at all the color coming out of there, y'all. Isn't that pretty? So let's go in, get the last little bit of that, and voila. Next step, we're going to put this in the refrigerator and let it chill for a couple of hours or a day, whenever you want to. Overnight is generally best, because that'll give it a chance to set up all the way. That's your next to last step, and I'll let you see it when it's all ready to eat and serve.